Good afternoon, everyone. Let's go ahead and begin the full Committee of Education Administration. Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Baum, Carringer, Cassada, Sapicki,
Here.
Clemens, Cochran, Darby, Gillespie, Hakeem, Haston, Lafferty, Love, Parkinson, Reagan, Chairman White, Vice Chairman Hurt.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. So as most of you are aware, with the absence of Chairman White today, I'll be handling the chair duties most of today. I do have to present another bill in another committee, so I'll be handing the gavel over to Chairman Haston for just a little bit during our committee today. With that being said, I'll ask for everyone to bear with us and have a great amount of patience with me. All right, are there any personal orders or announcements before we get going? Seeing none, let's get going. First today, we have HJR 113 by Leader GANT. We have a motion and a second. You're recognized on your resolution, Leader.
Thank you, Chairman, and I have all the faith in the world, and you do a great job today. So I have the distinct privilege today to represent the governor here in this reappointment of Colonel Captain Wilmore, which is here with us today. And before I turn it back to you, I just want to say that he is a highly decorated officer, is a veteran of 2 space flights, and has accumulated more than 178 days in space as an astronaut with NASA, having served as a flight engineer and as a commander aboard the International Space Station. He has a long list of other accomplishments, but that gives you an idea of the caliber of this individual, and it's a distinct privilege to recommend him for reappointment on behalf of the governor to you guys.
Thank you, Leader Gant. With that, I think we have Captain Wilmore with us today, and we'll go out of session and recognize him to say a few words. Welcome, sir. You come on up and sit and just state your name for the record.
Sure. Yes, my name is Barry Wilmore, and as mentioned, I have served this nation for several years, 30 years in the Navy and the last 20 with NASA, but I consider myself a Tennessean. I grew up here. I went to high school here. I went to Tennessee Tech. I have master's degrees from Tennessee Tech and the University of Tennessee. After I was through that process, I'm grateful for the opportunity the Navy took me. They allowed me to serve, and I did that for some time. And then I wore NASA down, and they finally selected me for a role as an astronaut, and have been able to do that for the last couple of years. I will tell you that my primary tie to this state, having been gone from the state for many years, is with my family. But the other tie that I have is serving on this board. I maintained my state residency for the entire time I was in the Navy, and this was my home of record. This I consider home. I still consider this home, though I have physically not been able to live in this state for many, many decades now. So this is home. This is where I always call home. Even when I say home, we're going home to my wife. She says, no, your home is here. You grew up in Tennessee. So I even get that wrong occasionally still. So again, I'm honored to have the opportunity to serve in this role on the Board of Trustees. This is my primary tie other than family to this state, and I relish the opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's an honor to have you here, and we appreciate what you do and what you've done. Members, are there any questions or comments? Chairman Sapicki.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Captain Wilmore it is.
Yes, sir.
Captain
Yes, sir.
Wilmore. First of all, thank you for your service. Appreciate what you've done for our great country.
Thank you.
One of the concerns I need to address it with you is, being a Navy man, are you able to look objectively across the aisle at Army or Air Force and make good judgment for Tennessee Tech?
I have some of the finest people I know are Army and Marine Corps and Navy. As a matter of fact, I'm training now for the first flight of the Boeing spacecraft, first flight of the Starliner, and my crewmates are Marine Corps and Army, and we are doing well together. So yes, sir, I think we're able to do that.
Follow, Mr. Chairman.
You recognize?
Well, on the record, you never said that you would objectively look at them, but that's okay.
Absolutely.
No, seriously though, Tennessee Tech.
Yes, sir.
Tell me why you want to serve on the board.
Serve is the key term. In my career, that's what I have done. It's serving our nation. Trust me, I feel many times that the country is serving me because it's given me so many vast opportunities. And I have similar feelings here. It's an opportunity to serve this state, but it gives so much back. When you interact with the students and the faculty and some of the things that we as board members, decisions we make that affect them, trying to keep our tuitions low as possible to help those that are financially austere, if you will, and trying to do those things to make this university experience something that is as affordable as it possibly can be. And I don't know if you know this about tech, but specifically for tech, bang for your buck for the money they spend and the salaries they're able to get when they first leave the university is the highest in the state. And we take a lot of pride in that. So being able to serve the community of the Upper Cumberland region and also our students and our faculty is an honor. So I appreciate that opportunity.
Thank you, Kevin. Look forward to voting for you.
Thank you.
Chairman Reagan, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I noticed you omitted the Air Force there from your list of.
We do consider the Air Force as part of the uniformed services. Yes, sir. I say that joking. I am serving with an Air Force officer on this mission. I just mentioned Mike Fink. He's a colonel.
Well, I just had to throw that out there.
Yes, sir.
On a serious note, though, I do have a question for you related to your Board of Trustees duties.
Yes, sir.
And that is many times our universities across the state get mandates, if that's the right word, strong suggestions with threats of money loss from the federal government and so forth. What's your views on those things?
Well, we haven't had any of that, to my knowledge, since I've been serving the last 4 years. That hasn't happened. Threats, any kind of threat, you need to see what the threat is coming from. And I think a lot of times if you're dealing with difficult situations, you need to go beyond the bounds of just the board in certain instances. And the ruling body that governs our board is you all. So I think interacting, if there's some difficult things that come up, I think that as a board, we would not just sit and autonomously make certain hard, tough decisions. If we had decisions to be made in that category, we would probably reach out and get assistance from people like yourselves.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have, except to recommend to him that he reconsider the Air Force a little higher.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. Any other questions or comments for our guest? Seeing none, thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Thank you for everything you're doing for us.
And again, I thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We'll go back in session. Members, you've heard the discussion. Any other questions? Questions been called. Seeing no objections, we'll be voting on HJR 113. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. HJR passes to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chairman and committee.
Thank you, leader. Next on the calendar is Cooper. Okay, we'll House Bill 165 will roll 3 spaces. Next on the calendar, we have House Bill 332 by Representative Alexander. Properly motioned and seconded. Any amendments? No amendments on this. Representative, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, committee. I'm pleased to carry this legislation in support of 4-H. House Bill 332 would increase student access to 4-H programs by protecting 4-H students if they are participating in 4-H activities. It ensures that students in Tennessee public schools can be counted as present for attendance purposes if they are participating in a 4-H program. Like schools already allow for other intracurricular activities. This legislation passed on the House floor last year 99-0, but was not able to be heard in the Senate due to COVID-19. This was one of the recommendations from the Governor Lee's Agriculture, Education, and Youth Participation Task Force and is supported by the Tennessee Farm Bureau.
Thank you, Representative. Members, you've heard the explanation. We have any questions or comments for the sponsor? Questions been called and seconded. We're going to be voting on House Bill 332. All those in favor say aye. No? Ayes have it. Bill passes to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you.
Now I'm going to pass the gavel to Chairman Heston, and we'll move forward.
That brings us to item number 4. I do not see Chairman Carr, so we'll roll him of. Oh, that'll be fine. Representative Love, you are recognized on House Bill 0193. Properly motioned, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 0193, as it states, is designed to bring some parity with BP funding for 2 districts.
Question has been called. Seeing no objection, we will be voting on House Bill 193. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. On to finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members.
Thank you. What brings us to item number 5, House Bill 1056. I do not see. Oh, sorry. That is rolled 1 week. That brings us to item number 6, House Bill 1271 by Representative Garrett. Do I have a motion? Second. Properly motioned. Representative Garrett, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. I appreciate this. This legislation was actually brought to me by a constituent. A constituent receives an IEA fund from the state of Tennessee. It's actually a school choice mechanism for folks with disabilities. And what he was telling me is that this particular legislation is taxable from the IRS. So what this legislation does is absolutely 100% makes it clear that according to Tennessee, that we do not want this benefit to this particular families that take advantage of this option. It is not taxable. So that's what this legislation does. I'll be happy to answer any questions from the committee.
Thank you
Mr.
for the
Chairman.
explanation. Any questions? Chairman Sapicki, you're recognized.
Thank you very much. So as a state, we're saying we don't want this taxed, but it's still a federally taxed issue. So make sure you address that with your accountant, correct?
That's exactly right, Chairman Spicky. Thank you for that. Hopefully this gives another ammunition to let the IRS know we don't want it to be taxed, but obviously if they still say it's taxed, it does need to be collected. So, but we're just hoping that we have another argument in the bank to let the IRS know we do not want this taxed. Thank you for that question.
Any other questions for the sponsor? Question's been called. Seeing no objections, we'll be voting on House Bill 1271. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. On to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
Brings us to item number 7, House Bill 528 by Chairlady Moody. Properly motioned. And we will recognize Chairlady Moody on House Bill 528. And I believe you have an amendment that's traveling with this.
Hang on. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. It's 04662.
Thank you very much. It's properly motioned. Does it make the bill?
Yes.
Okay, so without objection, we'll go ahead and put it on the bill. Be voting on adopting amendment 4662. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. We are back on the bill as amended. Chairlady Moody, you're recognized.
Thank you so much. This bill will close the loophole that currently exists around individuals teaching on a temporary permit who committed misconduct. All licensed teachers who commit misconduct are required by law to be reported to the State Board of Education. The State Board exercises licensure discipline and can suspend or revoke a teacher's license. This prevents teachers from committing misconduct in one jurisdiction and relocating to other jurisdictions to potentially commit the same behavior. Under current law, this reporting and discipline process does not extend to permitted teachers. The bill contains the reporting requirements which will ensure the State Board of Education is aware of misconduct of individuals teaching on a permit, and that State Board of Education can ensure these individuals are not issued a permit or reissued a permit. It further clarifies that permits are not renewed, they are reissued due to the fact they are good for only 1 year. And with the amendment, currently the portion of law governing issuance of permits and waivers to teach requires local board chairs to certify each permit or waiver application before it is sent to the department for the commissioner's approval. This requirement for local board chairs to certify each permit and waiver application forces the department to process them in paper rather than electronic form. The revisions make it optional for local board chairs to certify permit and waiver applications. This will allow applications to be processed entirely online, resulting in faster processing that will benefit teachers and districts. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you for that explanation. Members, do you have any questions for our sponsor on this bill? Seeing none, we'll be voting on House Bill 528. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. On to calendar and rules.
Thank you.
Item number 8, we are going to roll a few spaces, and that brings us to item number 9, House Bill 1233 by Chairman Zachary. Do I have a motion? Properly motioned. Chairman Zachary, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. And Mr. Chairman, I've got an amendment.
Properly motioned. What
Thank
drafting
you.
code?
Drafting code 4834.
4834. Does it make the bill, or do you
Yes,
like?
sir. It does make the bill, Mr. Chairman. And per our discussion last week in your committee, this is a collaboration between the Department of Education, TSBA, and TOS.
Properly motioned. All right, we will be voting to adopt Amendment 4834. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed say no. Amendment is adopted. Do you have another amendment?
I do not, no, sir.
Okay.
No, that makes the bill.
All right, we are back on the bill as amended. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, the Accommodations for All Children Act guarantees reasonable accommodations for all children in our public schools while protecting the well-being of every child. The legislation removes the burden of stress of accommodation from our teachers, administrators, parents, and students. Once this legislation passes, Tennessee will have a very clear path forward for every school across our state. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll be glad to take any questions.
Thanks for that explanation. Does anybody have any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, we'll be voting on House Bill 1233. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. On to Finance, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
Brings us to item number 10, House Bill 211 by Representative Carringer. Do I have a motion? Properly motioned. Representative Carringer, you are recognized on House Bill 211.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for being a few minutes late. It's been one of those days with every committee and all. So thank you so much. I bring to you all House Bill 211. And essentially what this is about, it passed unanimously last year through with Chairman Reagan, and because of COVID, it got stopped. And so we wanted to run it again this year. In summary, the bill expands the qualified work-based learning grant program to include students participating in a middle college program. Only large companies are currently willing to absorb the risk right now. The bill allows medium and small size companies to be able to hire interns without unreasonable workers' compensation insurance risk. And so we're simply asking to make this bill available to be able to give our students who are still enrolled, maybe in college and high school classes, to be able to get or graduate also from high school with possibly an associate's degree, and also to get some training and allow these small companies to be able to give the training and mentor to these students.
Thank you for that explanation. Members, do you have any questions for the sponsor on the bill? Question has been called. Seeing no objections, we'll be voting on House Bill 211. All those in favor, please say aye. All
Aye.
those opposed, say no. The ayes have it. On to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to your wonderful committee that I'm honored to be a part of.
Thank you. That brings us to item number 11, House Bill 206 by Representative Cochran. Do I have a motion? Properly motioned. Representative Cochran, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 206 revises the truancy portion of code. This exact bill, the exact language, is what we voted on and approved last year in education sub and full, and actually was at the House floor, similar to the previous bill, or similar to the previous issue that we talked about, and just kind of got cut short for COVID. Long story short, this makes this section of code a little bit more efficient and a little bit it assists those attendance supervisors in intervening in truancy situations. But happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that explanation. Does anybody have any questions for the sponsor on this bill? Seeing none, we'll be voting on House Bill 206. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The ayes have it. On to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chairman and Committee.
I will hand the gavel back over to our chairman.
Gotta be. Thank you, Chairman Haston. And we are back to number 2 on your calendar, House Bill 165 by Representative Cooper. Have a motion and a second. Representative Cooper, you are recognized on your bill.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. House Bill. What is this? 165 is in the wrong folder, and I need to get it just for a moment. Well, okay, I'm ready.
You're recognized.
Oh, thank you. House Bill 165 authorizes a community of schools to support schools in an achievement district. Oh. And that is not the right thing. I just left out a committee. I had too many of them. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Sorry about that. It authorizes, 165 authorizes community schools and community of schools to establish programs to make professional counseling services available to individuals held in correctional or detention facilities in this state. And with that, if you have any questions, I do know that there is a
pilot program in Shelby County where they're using counselors, and it's working very, very well. It's just a pilot. And this will help our, what are they saying? That the purpose would specifically do things if we could get this passed through today. Really 2 or 3 things. It would prepare inmates for a normal life living without dependence on alcohol and drugs and the dangers to health and destructive to themselves and others, including violations of the law. The counseling will provide inmates with educational training and job placement, relieve administration and deputy jailers from stress, improve job performance, reduce absences, and reduce abuse toward inmates. There have been a lot of absences during this time of COVID, and some of our inmates have not been let out. They're in 2 and 3 days without the number of staff that they need, deputy jailers. And it also will provide additional access for inmates to receive professional counseling, educational job training, and that would reduce crime and, of course, would have some effect on recidivism rate. Though that was one of the reasons why I brought it out of concern for the jails and the jailers, workers, and so forth. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll be pleased to answer any questions that you have. And I apologize for being so disorganized coming down here.
No problem. We totally understand. Thank you, Representative Cooper. Members, you've heard the explanation. Do we have any questions? Question's been called and seconded. Members, we are voting on House Bill 165. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. House Bill 165 moves out to Finance, Ways and Means. Thank you, Representative, for presenting that.
And thank you, Mr. Chairman and members.
Members, we're waiting on one member to finish presenting in another committee. With that, we're going to take a short recess and allow him to finish up and make his way in, and then we'll hear his bill. With that, we're in recess. Members, we're back in session. With looking at the situation and the time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn and we will hear,
Second.
and we will hear this bill opening up of the next committee. With that, we're adjourned.